She opened her eyes to pitch darkness. The rough burlap sack pressed against her face, its coarse fibers scraping her skin like a cruel cage. A faint breeze carried the scent of dust and straw. She tried to move her hands but felt a sting where thick ropes bound her wrists. Her ankles were tied, cutting off blood flow to her feet until her toes felt numb. Panic flared in her chest. She forced herself to breathe, to remain calm. A rough hand pulled the sack from her head. Bright sunlight assaulted her eyes. She stood on a wooden platform beneath a canvas awning in a dusty auction yard. A crowd of men in weathered hats packed the space, their eyes hungry and cold. Her clothes, once a simple cotton dress, were torn and stained with dust. She knelt, her body trembling, as the auctioneer praised her strength, her youth, her obedience, as though she were livestock. "Starting bid at 50 silver coins," he called. Bids climbed swiftly until a grizzled rancher in a dusty hat paid 150 silver coins. She was sold. 2 men cut her free, leaving welts on her wrists. She was forced to wash in a bucket of water, the cold liquid mingling with her tears as she scrubbed grit from her face. The buyer, a tall rancher named Caleb Nash, watched in silence, his gray eyes unreadable. Then he motioned to a wagon and helped her aboard, ready to leave her fate behind. The wagon journey was brutal. Sun pounded the wood, and each jolt on the rough road sent fresh waves of pain through her bruised body. She closed her eyes, clinging to memories of her brother's face, his tearful promise that she would be safe. When the lights finally dimmed and the wagon stopped, she stepped down to see rolling pastures dotted with cattle, a whitewashed house and a red barn shimmering under the late afternoon sun. Caleb pointed to a small room on the side of the house. Wooden walls, a thin mattress, and a single window overlooking the fields. Without a word, he closed the door behind her. Tears came as she sank to the bed, every muscle aching. When morning, light spilled through the window, she emerged, bruised yet determined. Caleb handed her a pitcher of water and patched clothes, simple cotton but clean. She dressed in silence and followed him to the corral, where cattle lowed around the troughs. He handed her a pitchfork. "Feed them," he said. Hesitantly, she scattered hay among the animals. The cattle nudged her hands gently, their harsh noses surprising her with an unexpected gentleness. Next, Caleb guided her to a battered fence line. He handed her tools, hammer, nails, boards, and demonstrated how to remove broken planks and secure new ones. Her muscles protested with every strike of the hammer, but as the final nail sank into the wood, a sense of purpose blossomed within her. Caleb nodded once, almost imperceptibly, before turning away. Life on the ranch settled into a relentless rhythm. At dawn, she fed livestock, tended a small garden, and gathered eggs from the coop. Afternoons found her scrubbing floors, washing dishes, and cooking watery stew. Each chore, though exhausting, grounded her in reality and eased the terror that lingered in her mind. She grew stronger. Her hands learned the feel of tools. Her legs learned to move with purpose. Caleb watched her as she worked, sometimes offering a curt nod of approval, his presence a silent gauge of her progress. One evening, Mara sat under a lantern's glow, mending her torn dress. The ranch lay quiet under a blanket of stars. Caleb approached and stopped a few feet from her. "You sew well," he said. Surprised, she looked up. "I learned from my mother," she replied softly. He studied her for a moment, then turned, away without another word. She felt a warm spark of hope ignite within her. In the weeks that followed, Mara settled into ranch life. She rose before dawn to feed livestock, tend a small garden, and gather eggs. Afternoons brought fence repairs and house chores. Her body grew stronger, her hands precise and steady. She learned to calm frightened animals with gentle whispers. Ranch hands, once wary, began to offer nods of respect. One day, a young hand named Elias entrusted Mara with a tattered book. Its pages were yellowed, but Mara's heart soared. She began teaching Elias to read, tracing letters as he repeated them. His progress filled her with pride. Thomas Ellis returned, his questions now thoughtful. He praised her courage but awaited Caleb's permission before writing. Mara faced him one evening under stars. "I want my own story told," she insisted. Thomas nodded, promising to wait for her consent. Jonathan Sorensen arrived to guide her writing. Under an old oak, she poured memories onto paper. Her childhood laughter, the raid's terror, the auction's despair, and moments of unexpected kindness. Sorensen taught her to shape words that carried weight. When the manuscript was complete, Caleb surprised her by reading it. He sat quietly as she read, and when she finished, he said, "Your story deserved to be heard." The City Gazette published Mara's story in installments. Letters arrived daily, support for her education, offers to aid her search for her brother, and words of admiration. Ranch hands greeted her with smiles and respect. On a foggy morning, a writer brought a letter, bearing her brother's handwriting. She learned he waited at a refuge 2 days away. Tears blurred her vision as she read his words. Caleb offered his horse, and she set out with an escort. Their reunion was a silent embrace, tears flowing as they clung to one another. Mara returned to the ranch often, teaching children to read and sharing her story at night under lantern light. She and Caleb worked side by side, their bond deepening into a silent understanding. As autumn leaves drifted past the barn, Mara held the first bound copy of her story. With each sunrise, she carried her past in her words. No longer defined by the sack that once covered her head, she walked into a future she wrote herself. Mara's voice spread plain,